Nunu and welcome to WPVidz. In this episode we're going to cover the basics of WordPress, what it is and how to get it set up ready to start building your website. Now I'm running this on localhost, so I'm not going to show you how to install WordPress. There are a lot of videos out there on how to install WordPress on your server. Any web hosting packages out there, any decent ones anyway, will actually have WordPress for free. All you need to do is log into your cPanel, one-click install. Very simple. We're going to assume that's already installed and this is where you're at. You've installed WordPress and this is what your website looks like. Very basic, very ugly and not very useful at all. WordPress in itself, stock standard, is useful, it's helpful. It allows you to build a very basic website very easily. There are a lot of plugins and themes that you can get for free, which I do recommend staying away from, majority of them. There are very cheap paid themes out there which I definitely recommend investing in, and I'll get into the reasons for that later. But out of the box, as it is very basic, but you're most likely going to want a little bit more out of your WordPress website. There are ways to do that without spending any money, and we'll cover that in these episodes. More importantly though, we don't want a website looking like this. By standard, when you install WordPress, default settings are your blog name, tagline, and then all your posts will appear here on the screen. You'll have a widget bar to the right, which we'll cover over what widgets are, and then your little text line down the bottom, your little footer. So we want to change and tweak some of these settings, and we're going to cover that over in this video. And some of the common issues that a lot of people have when they first install, and that comes down to the type of server that you're on as well in some cases. So to get into the admin panel, click on Site Admin, and it'll take you to this screen, which is your main user dashboard. And this is where you're going to build your website from. And there's no need to freak out. Like I said, WordPress is very simple to use. There's no HTML coding required. It's just very basic, like typing in a Word document. There are two very distinct areas in WordPress: pages and post. And the easiest way to explain those is basically, look, a page is a page. That's what you're displaying, that's what people are going to and viewing. A post can actually sit within a page. So when you're typing a blog, you'll create a new post every time you want to have a new entry. The pages are just something that you set up initially to tell WordPress where to display all your different posts. So in your dashboard, it's just showing you a basic overview of what's going on with your WordPress install, and I'll actually display in here what updates are required as well. So if you need to update to the latest version of WordPress, it'll tell you here. We've got post, and this is where we control where we build posts on our left-hand nav bar here in grey. Media, where we can add images. Post, where we pages, where we have a list of all the pages that we've created. Comments, which can be really annoying for spammers, and I'll show you how to disable that. Appearance, so this is where we can design, we can change the design of the website by applying a new theme, getting some widgets, doing some basic customization and things like that as well. Plugins is an area where we can actually download free plugins, or we can upload plugins that we've paid for. Users is where you manage all your users, and that's the beauty of WordPress. It actually has its own role-based security built into it, so you can actually have a blog website where you can have your fans log in and communicate with you via the website in a secure place. Tools we'll get involved in a little bit later, and settings we're going to jump into today as well. So looking at our website, very basic. We want to change this over, so I like to have a static home page. And the way we get into this is, let's just create some new pages first. So we've got some standard pages there we can play around with, and let's create some posts as well. So we've got some additional posts there. So it's easy to modify and explain how to modify WordPress when we've got some extra content there to throw around. So I'm just going to go to Pages and click All Pages. And this takes me to the dashboard that's showing me all the pages we have on our website, which is only one sample page. And that's default when you install WordPress. So we can click Add New up here, and we can enter a title. So I'm just going to say Home. I'm not going to type any content, but this is a content window where you actually lay out everything, all your text and images can go in here. I'm just going to click Publish on the right hand side here, and now it's published. And we can see that here with our little info box on the right. We've got status, published, visibility, public, the date and time it was published, and now this button changes to update. So whenever we make some changes, we're updating that page. So we've got a home page now, we've got the sample page. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call this one blog. And same again, skip the content, just click publish. So if I click on pages now on the left hand side, you can see we've got the home, blog and sample page. And we're going to do the same with posts. So let's come over to post. We've got the default post that comes with WordPress, hello world. We can just delete that one, we don't really need it. I can click on trash when you hover over the post. Now that post is gone. And we click add new. And we'll call this one post 1 and publish. Add a new post again and we'll say post 2. Oh, learn how to type. Post 2 and publish. And if I click on all posts on the left hand side, you can see we now have 2 posts. Post 1, post 2. If I refresh my home page, you'll see those posts now displayed here. And we want to change that. So now we've got some posts and we've got some pages. We can actually dig into the settings now and change the way WordPress displays our website. So if I come down to settings, we want the reading options, so click on reading. And the first option here is front page displays. By default it's going to say your latest post. So I can click a static page. And now it's asking you, what is the front page going to be? We'll call it home. Post page, what is your post page going to be? And we're going to use the blog page that we created earlier. We've got some additional options here as well. So these options are just giving you an idea, like how many posts you want to display on your home page. Is 10 going to be enough? We can overwrite these settings as some other themes as well. By default I just leave it as 10, that's fine. Syndication feeds shown by most recent, 10. This is in relation to the RSS that you can set up later. And search engine visibility. This doesn't tell Google or Yahoo to go away if you click discourage. It's just an option that they might abide by, so really not really worth changing. So for now we're just going to change front page displays, a static page, front page is home, post page is blog, and these are the 2 pages we just created earlier. And save changes. So now when I go back to the home page and click refresh, we've got home page, the option to edit that page, and there's no content there. So that's what we're after. So now we can actually build a static home page with all the basic information that we're after. Now another common setting a lot of people want to change is the permalinks. And this is where a few people get unstuck. Depending on the hosting, it can get a little bit sketchy sometimes. By default it's day and name. So if we go back to the home page, click on post 2, you'll see the address bar. It's got the year, the month, the day, and then the post name. What a lot of people tend to do is change it to post name only. So it's going to have the URL and then the post name. But what happens is when we save this, and I go back to this page, refresh, oops, can't be found. Go back to the home page, click on post, and now it's going to be there. There used to be a very common issue where it just wouldn't update, and that was a permalink issue. And there is some code that you can put into your htaccess file to get around that. I'll give you that code. It's very, very simple. It's nothing difficult, but I doubt that you'd have that issue nowadays unless you're running a really, really old server. But that used to be the most common issue, and a lot of people would freak out because they'd click on pages or they'd try to refresh a page where it had the URL at the top with the date in it, and they would freak out and say, my website's not working anymore. You just need to click refresh and on your home page and then reactivate or re-click on that link. But permalink, it is very common. People have that issue. The code I'll put in the description below. and we'll post something on the website as well to explain how to add that to your htaccess file. So that's permalinks, and this is actually a lot easier for websites to, like search sites, Google bots, to pick up. It's a lot cleaner, it's a lot simple. You don't need the date in there, just the description. If you have the description of your or your post name in your URL, it is easier and it will come up on Google a lot faster. And it makes it a lot easier for people to understand what they're going to read. So highly recommend changing to post name. So these are very basic settings you can change in your WordPress website that make a huge difference. Another thing we can do is actually come over into plugins, or sorry, appearance and themes. And there are some default themes in here. The Fox is one that I've uploaded. We're going to get into a little bit later because it gives us a lot of different settings. By default, we've got 2017 theme active. We can change over to 2014 theme, which gives us this nav bar on the left hand side here, or the 2017 theme as well. So 2017 themes, this gives you a big banner up the top, whereas the 2016 theme just has nothing. It's really raw. You need to be changing everything yourself. I like the Fox theme. It does cost about $50–60 from Theme Forest, and I can give you a link to that. It's got a lot of different mods in there, because when we get into digging into post, and well, let's just jump into that now. When we create, let's jump into a page. Let's go to the home page, and this is all we've got to work with, just content. We can type in whatever we like, but that's all we can do. We can type in our text, we can add images. Very, very basic. Yeah. The reason people like to use Wix and sites like that is because you can click and drag images around. You can click and drag and really lay out the website, and it's hard to do that with WordPress as standard unless you know how to write some of your own mods. And that's not really, to me, what true WordPress website building is all about. It should be about simplicity. So using default WordPress, not ideal when you want to have a really good looking website. One of the options that you do have is to go to websites and download themes and build on from there. Now these themes come with extra plugins which are supported, and these plugins can help you get that Wix type feel where you can click and drag and have more control. It actually gives you more control than what you have with like a Wix website. Now these themes that I'm using are going to be paid. If you come down to plugins, install plugins, these are the ones that are already installed by default except for Contact Form 7. Add new, and this is where you can get a lot of new themes for free and plugins for free. So these here, well, this is where you get the plugins for free. These aren't supported. BuddyPress, very popular. That is a supported one that's worthwhile getting. But when we get into things like, say, Post View is a very common one that I use. Okay, so these are free, not supported. This one I use all the time. Last updated 2 years ago, untested newer version of WordPress. If I install that theme, you can get the white screen of death. If it's not compatible with the current version of WordPress, which is updated all the time, you get a white screen of death, and people tend to freak out like, what do I do, what do I do, what do I do? You need to log in via FTP, uninstall that plugin or delete that plugin. Web hosting, if you don't have FTP connection, just go into your cPanel, go to File Manager, find the last plugin that you installed and delete it, and your website will be back to normal. The common issue with a lot of these free plugins and the free themes that are out there is they're just not updated anywhere near enough to be stable for your website. And you can't really blame the developers of these plugins because they're not charging you. So I tend to steer away from as many of the free plugins as possible. I still like to use Post Views. This one I don't use anymore because I haven't updated for a while, which is a shame because it was really easy to use. There's another one now I'll have to get the name of that I'm using, and it's quite simple. It's pretty good. But again, if my website ever goes down, it'll be because that plugin most likely hasn't been updated. With the themes, we can click Add New, and here's all the free themes that are available, and again, not always updated. but you can see it changes the layout. We've got a banner up the top. We've got a block theme. And there are some pretty cool themes here. But again, they're not updated. This static mag theme's pretty good, and it gives you a lot of control to say where different posts appear, so it can look like a normal news media website. There are paid ones though that are really awesome. So theme wise, we're going to get into that next episode and show you how to modify your WordPress website using a paid theme. Using a free theme you can do yourself and follow along and have a bit of a play around, but please don't save that theme as your default one for the rest of your life, because you're going to have issues. But that's it. If you have any questions, just post some comments below or reach out to us and we're happy to help. Next episode, we're actually going to be going over the Fox theme, so I'm going to install that theme, show you how to install a theme, some of the plugins that are involved with that, and how to really get your WordPress website looking pretty.